Adults with no kids, what's it really like? A lot of people assume I hate kids because I don't have any. I don't. I just always knew it wasn't for me. At 33, I'm very content with the decision. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? Honestly, I think it's a good thing that not all adults' children ever meet are parents themselves. Some of us remembering what it's like to be that vulnerable is actually a resource. Most of my friends have kids now, and it hasn't bothered me yet. It's fun to hear about their experiences, and to on occasion meet a toddler with no parental expectations from me. It's a lot like when a friend gets a cat or dog. 43 male, married for 13 years. What is it like? Quiet. Low pressure. My wife and I make life decisions that work for us. We both have jobs and activities in life that involve a lot of social responsibility, working in healthcare and domestic violence, and doing a lot of community work. It's not as if we've just broadly shirked responsibility in life, we've just directed our energies differently. For the decision, I'd always kind of assumed I'd have kids, but my future wife told me early on she didn't want kids. I kind of weighed the balance of this person is awesome. I'd love to share more of my life with her, and I think I'd like kids. Ultimately, I found I didn't have a really concrete idea of why I wanted kids. I think I was just going along with what I saw as the norm in society. I don't love or hate kids. Sometimes they are great, sometimes not. I didn't feel a strong personal need to pass on my genes or family name, or anything else on those lines. On the other side of the equation, it meant having more time, energy, money, and flexibility for the things I really have a passion for in life. I find myself doing a lot of community work where I'm one of the few non-retirees involved, voluntary local government work for the most part. For me, it's been great to be able to represent a younger voice in those environments, and to have the time and energy to do that work. 44. Never really wanted kids and can't imagine having them now. My husband and I have a very quiet life and a clean house. A male 31, my wife is 36. We don't want kids at all. It's pretty great actually. Being able to spontaneously plan a trip without worrying about entertaining a child is pretty nice. Being able to buy something without worrying about affording to feed your kid is also nice. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with kids. I just like them more when I'm able to give them back. I'll gladly be the fun uncle. I have never once in my life had any desire at all to have children. It would be like me purposefully going into a career I hated, only I could never change my area of study, or ever switch jobs no matter what. So I stayed on birth control and got sterilized while Obama was still in office, after I turned 40 and my non-existent biological clock was winding down. I have a tight-knit social circle. Some of my friends have children. I have many hobbies and interests, and my life is fulfilling. I feel no sense of loss or could have beens. My mark on the world, if any, will be through art or craft or writing. A male 37 female with no kids, and it wasn't exactly a decision that I made. I was married, together for like 12 years, we tried to have kids for about a year, and this actually put stress on the relationship and we got a divorce. That was about 5 years ago, and now at 37 and single I'm facing the reality that I likely won't have children. I always thought I wanted kids, but I'm really enjoying the freedom of not having them. So, it's definitely bittersweet for me. As much as I look forward to the freedom, the financial upside, the free time to pursue my hobbies and travel, etc., I can't help but think about how this all ends with me. How I'm not passing anything on. How I don't get to see my children's faces on Christmas morning, watch them grow up and have kids of their own, etc., etc. So, basically, not having kids makes me really happy. And really sad. I can't have kids, so the decision was made for me. Don't want them either. Can't even properly take care of myself. I can't speak for myself since I have a boatload of kids, but I have an aunt that never married and never had kids. She's around 75 now and is still always running around doing various team sports for her age group, attending activities with other peers and her friend roommate. I think part of what makes it work later in life is routine and schedules. If you're sitting around waiting for something to do, you basically are just watching game show network waiting to die. But knowing 3 nights a week are a sport practice, Tuesday is lunch with a friend, mornings are walks with this small group, Friday is bingo, Wednesday is trying a new restaurant and out to a movie. Things like that. You establish your own life and fill those things in. My grandpa is 101 and he, as he says, sits in his chair getting older, but he too has his routines and it gives him things to do and look forward to. You know how some people see kids and have baby fever? Yeah, I don't feel anything. On top of that, I like sleep and despise babies' children crying. I can't stand it. Having kids is a decision. Not having kids is the default state. Not for many people. Like not making some political point, but since the beginning of time people have been having kids. It was just a natural part of life that happened. It's only recently in the modern world where you are afforded the luxury of deciding not to have children or even when to start having them. Man, it's fucking great. I've never really cared either way, but my wife really didn't want kids. So now it's great. We sleep when we want to sleep, our free time is ours to do with as we please, loads of spare money, we keep the house nice and tidy and we have barely any responsibility. The only downside is having to hear about other people's kids. That said, there are a couple of kids in my life that I love to bits, godchildren, but I'm glad I'm not responsible for raising them. Mid-40s. Honestly, being dinks is awesome. We have 2 full-time careers. We have a ton of extra money and a nicely organized budget, a great retirement setup, a fulfilling social life, a clean house, and all the free time we want to do whatever we want. We don't feel alone, or miserable or sad like all the people who pressured me for years. As a woman, I dealt with constant harassment from a couple of coworkers, told me I would. I knew as a teenager I didn't want children. I don't dislike them, just never had the urge and don't really have any interest. When I met my husband, the subject came up early on, and we were in agreement. It worked well for us. We have a few other child-free friends as well. Many of the people I know with kids are perpetually broke and always complaining about their kids or something kid-related. I just don't know how most people do it. Really curious about age of posters and what led up to the decision. I'm a 35 male and middle class with a long-term partner, and we go back and forth. State of world, etc. What I'm wondering is, what is it like in your 40s and 50s plus when there is this perceived everyone is raising their kids and you're alone scenario? Granted, it's different for everyone, but I'm curious how it worked for you. 48 female here. Married at 30, and was unsure about kids due to my childhood abuse neglect. Also, mother and sister have significant mental health issues that started after they had kids. We just realized that we were both not 100% committed to a life with kids, and it seemed that jobs getting ahead was not happening the way we imagined we're taught, Gen X issues. After an unexpected pregnancy, a mutual decision to terminate, then a miscarriage that showed the universe agreed, we were just done with the idea of parenting. Having kids does not guarantee a future advocate for you, and we felt bringing a child into the world was too much for us, and the world, to handle. No regrets. Financially and emotionally the right call for us. 55 chiming in here. I never wanted kids and don't particularly enjoy being around them. It did get a little rough for a while in my 30s when everyone was having them, not because it made me think I wanted them, but because it kind of shrunk our social circle. But let me tell you, I have zero regrets. People with kids still end up alone. I cut off contact with my parents, for the sake of my mental health. Plus, it's common these days for kids to move across the country for work, or just because they like the area. Several people I know get along with their grown kids, but still only see them every few years. I'll answer from a sort of in-between position in male 30, and while I'd like kids, they're still a long ways off for me, if they ever happen. On one hand, it's really nice. I have plenty of disposable income, my free time is entirely my own, I don't owe anything to anyone. The hardest part, however, is that a lot of my friends are starting to have kids. I'm not exactly jealous, but people become way less available once they're parents, and even when they are free, their lives are nonetheless centered entirely around their children in a way that is hard to relate to. They're still my friends, but the dynamic is really different, and so in many ways it feels like my social group is shrinking rapidly. Looking towards the future, a large part of the reason I want kids is so that I'll have a family way down the line. My grandmother is at an age where most of her friends are dying off, so her children and grandchildren have become the majority of her social circle. I'm terrified that, if I reach that age without kids, I'll wind up a lonely old man waiting to die. I dated a man for a short while who said he initially didn't want kids, but after watching his father get sick and his mother's sister have to take care of him, he decided that he actually wanted kids so that someone would take of him when he was older. I've been in the non-baby camp for the past 10-ish years, 31 now, but upon hearing his reasoning I was like, that is like top 5 worst reasons to have a kid. That is such a selfish reason to have kids, damn. I'm going to use that example next time I'm told I'm selfish for not wanting kids. Which, technically, is true. I am selfish. I like my space, ability to nap whenever, my wife and I can make plans around our wants and needs. But I'm not selfish enough to have kids so they can act as free palliative care when I'm old and my body is failing me. Doctor-assisted death for me, TYVM. While it may not sound comforting, many old people who did have kids still end up lonely and die alone. Having kids is not a guarantee that they'll want to be around you into old age. I think it's better to be open to friendship as you age. No matter what your family situation looks like, everyone needs friends they are not related to. The youngest, old people I have ever met are the ones with the widest social circle. 52 here, no kids. It's like forever being 20, but with money. LOL. I do whatever I want sometimes. I even just sleep for the hell of it. I actually wanted and tried to have kids. Nature made the decision to not have them for me. I was upset about it for a little while, but very soon, I actually started to feel very relieved and grateful that fate rescued me from that trap. I should point out that I do have a few nieces and a nephew, and I'm sure they play a big factor into my childless joy. I love being an aunt and really feel like I got the better deal in life. My siblings agree. LOL. I spoil those kids with love and fun, and they think I'm awesome. Whenever I'm feeling a little maternal, I just pick one of them up and have a blast. Then take them home to their parents and go home and sleep for 12 hours because I can. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.